Welcome everyone, I'm Paul Wright, health business mentor, author and creator of the Practiceology program. Welcome to this session of the Preferred Employer series where I speak to some of the most successful health business owners in Australia about how they became preferred employers in the health space. Now in today's episode, I'm joined by John Powderly, owner of Canberra Spine Centre. John, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now I'll do a quick introduction of John. He graduated from RMIT as a chiropractor way back in 1995. After working in over 20 different clinics in 5 different countries, he opened Canberra Spine Centre in 2002. After many years of busy, successful chiropractors, he now devotes more energy to creating a great experience for his team of chiropractors. Canberra Spine Centre has now grown to a large team of chiropractors, massage therapists and support staff, and is now the largest chiropractic practice in the region. And they take great pride in their reputation and have created in their community as well as the team culture that makes them the preferred employer. So John, I can't wait to hear what you're doing over there. So your journey, what made you practice the way you do and look after your associates the way you do at Canberra Spine Centre?
I think it came from my own experience when I started out, Paul. I went into a business and a practice that I was just sort of dumped on there on my own. Time I didn't even have any admin staff. I was paid really poorly. I didn't have much direction, and it was just sort of like I think it was almost like I was an afterthought. I've since had some, after that experiences where I worked in different practices, and I've talked to, I guess, lots of different owners, and I still see that attitude out there. I still see principals taking on chiropractors who they don't have any interest in helping or mentoring them. They just sort of want them in to, help the clinic get busier. And, it turned me off. I didn't like it as, for my own experience. I felt I missed out on a bit of mentoring. I think I want a different experience for people working in my practice.
And you're big on your team. So what do you see as the main concerns and challenges that new graduates or new chiros might find when they come into a private practice environment today?
Well, it can be a number of things. I think one of those things is just what I talked about. You've got your principal chiropractor, very busy. They don't have much time for you. I know a lot of practices, they're not even on at the same time. So they may have a small building. They've only got enough rooms for one person to work at a time. So you don't really have anybody there at the same time. Sometimes there are multiple associates, and they seem to be brought on before someone's busy enough so that the associates are scratching around for patients while the principal is quite busy. I guess being on your own, without other senior chiropractors around, sometimes it's even a facilities thing. You can be stuck in these crummy, tiny rooms, old equipment, and you just don't feel proud to work there. So I think it's a combination of things.
There's still a fair bit, John. I know you're big on employees and looking after your team, like the safety nets and percentage deals and things. You've been big in that area in chiropractic in Canberra.
Yeah, and traditionally we've been a profession that's employed people on a contractor basis, and I've moved in the last number of years to more employee basis, and that's more work for us to do. But what it creates is, I think, a bit more flexibility. People, if they need to take time off for holidays, well, they just get paid. As an employee, if they're sick, they don't have to worry. They can take some time off. If they need to take a day or two off, that's no big deal. So I think it takes a bit of the stress out of things. Handle a lot of that administrative side of things as well, making sure that their superannuation's getting paid and making sure that they've got workers' compensation cover and those sorts of things. Even long service leave, so these are all things that are covered and that they don't have to worry about. And I think as well, it creates a baseline so that they'll always be paid a reasonable amount. Sometimes when they start out, they don't earn much, and that can be a real struggle for the first, 6 months, year or two in practice, and we make sure that doesn't happen.
It's like the old who takes the risk, doesn't it? Like you go in and it's all, the risk is all on the employee or the team member to come in and generate enough money to live. But you guys have addressed that at Canberra Spine, and you make sure they're looked after and well rewarded for their effort. But you also have some bonus things on top, and you still have well rewarded for their efforts.
Yeah, so we have a hybrid sort of contract. So it's a contract that gives them the best of both worlds. They have a safety net, so they'll never earn below a certain amount. But it also makes sure that they're rewarded for their efforts. So as they get busier, we basically do a quarterly reconciliation. We see how much they would have earned if they'd been a contractor and make sure they get paid that amount. So it just makes sure that they're getting paid what they're worth. If they get busier, if they're talented and skilled and people love seeing them and they want to come back and see them, then they get paid for that. So that's important.
For chiros out there looking for an associate position, what sort of questions should they be asking their potential employer? What things should they be inquiring about before they jump on board with that person?
I think a lot of it's about the support. That's really important. And again, you might come to a stumbling block straight away there. I've just had a friend round to dinner over the weekend. She's a chiropractor in Canberra. Great chiropractor, fantastic. But very much makes it clear to me, no, I don't want to have anything to do with the associates. She sort of sets them up and gets them going. Again, great practice, but doesn't really want to be hands-on there. So if that's what you want, then great, that's fine. But if you're, I think, coming out in your first year or two in practice, you're more likely going to want someone not necessarily to hold your hand, but at least to help you. As an old mentor of mine used to say, not have 1 year of experience repeated 7 times over, but have 7 years of experience. So each year you get better and better and you're not making the same mistakes over and over. And many of us, I'm sure you had the same thing in practice. I certainly did. You might go 5, 6, 7, 8 years in practice before you start realizing all the mistakes you've been making, and then you start getting some mentorship. Well, I think that's a big question. I suppose as well, asking, are you employed on a contractor basis or an employee basis? How busy are the other chiropractors? If they're not particularly busy, or why are you taking me on? I think that's a good one. What sort of facilities are there? What sort of equipment is there? For chiropractors, we're looking at spines, and X-ray can be an important thing. There could be some extra equipment like we have a special decompression table that we use for tricky disc cases. So things like that. Is there other stuff there? What happens on a regular basis? Is there training on a regular basis? Training and review. So these are the sort of questions that I think would pop up.
And you guys are big on education too. Like one of the things you look at, really why you're a preferred employer because of the pathway you provide these guys. So that's a big part of your whole process, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You never want to be not growing. As the saying goes, you're either growing or dying. And I always think, what do people want to learn? And let's help them go in that direction. A lot of it can be things like systems and procedures. It could be communication skills. It could be patient management skills. It could be techniques. So we'll get together on a regular basis as a team, and we'll work on those things. So we're working with the admin team for those same things as well. But our chiropractic team, we get a lot of training together, and I guess that's one part of the training. The other part happens in the same way where you go to a seminar and then you're having breaks. The chat between the seminar sessions can be really good too. And that happens a lot in our practice too. Come and have a look at these x-rays. I'm not sure about this, or, we're adjusting each other, looking after each other. And you've always got an opportunity to learn outside of those sessions too. And I think that's really good too. Perhaps it brings me on to another thing too, is team culture. That's important.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, someone saying to me how important it was, that your company culture. Back then, I actually didn't have a clue what he was saying. Now I realise how important that is, and how jealously we guard and look after that culture. And that makes or breaks people's experience. I think if you're in a supportive, fun environment where you're spending time together, you're learning, you're growing, people are there for you as a team, they're backing you. I think that's really important. You don't want to be somewhere where you're sort of sharing space, or maybe you do, but that's not us. So if you want that fun culture and be around people and have people help you, then I guess they're the questions you ask. Yeah.
So what do you look for then when you're looking for an associate? When you're looking for a team member to come on board at Canberra Spine Centre, what do you look for, John? How do you pick them? I
think being coachable is a good start. And really what that means is, someone described this to me really nicely. You've got your glass of water, and mine's half full here. imagine you got your glass completely full. There's no more room for knowledge, So you're completely full of knowledge and don't want to learn anymore. I've got it sorted. And yeah, it's funny. You like, I've been in practice a long time now, and one of our other chiropractors has been in practice even longer than me. And every day we feel like we've still got so much to learn. And so if someone's coming out of school and they feel like they've got all the answers, that rings alarm bells for me. So that's not great. I think people who are in it for the team and not just for themselves. And I guess what I mean by that is that they want to partake and participate and be in that. They don't just want to be a loner. They're not just, worried about the numbers or the dollars or that sort of thing. They want to, join in and be part of something bigger than just them. I think that's it. And perhaps also lastly, people who are prepared to, like, we're going to invest heavily. Every single person that comes on, we invest heavily. So you invest your time, you invest your finances, you invest your heart, you invest so much in them. And I suppose someone who recognises that and realises that we're not just a stepping stone, but, we'd like them to be around for a reasonable amount of time so that we can, share those benefits, that they can learn and grow and become a fantastic chiropractor, and we get to have them with us for a little bit of time as well.
You've got there's a large team now. You look at Canberra Spine and it's certainly a large team. What do they say about the Canberra Spine culture?
Yeah, well, we've had a fellow that's just been with us for only 6 months, and he's been out 3 years. So he's worked in I think 2 practices so far previously. And he didn't say it to me, but he said it to our manager. And he said, "Oh, I'm just having so much fun here. This is the best experience I've had in practice." And that's nice when telling you, because you know that they're telling the truth. They like the fun, we actually like hanging out together, so we have social events and things like that, and they like that. They definitely like the mentoring. They like that. Even my older guy, I keep saying older guy, he's my age, he's younger. I check in with him every now and then, and I say to him, I'm not sure, am I offering you much here? He said, no, it's great. Like, I'm always learning from you. So, funny. And I learn from my younger chiropractors too. So I think they like that. They like that environment where there's lots of, reciprocal learning and fun and culture, Yeah.
The common theme, John, from every successful business owner I've had on the Preferred Employer series, they invest heavily in their team. They know how important their team is, and they invest heavily in them. And you obviously do that because of what you're coming through with the information today. It's just a standout. You can see the preferred employers when you see how they talk about their team, and you do it all the time, mate. So obviously that's why you're a preferred employer.
Cheers, Paul. And I think I've been there where I've been a little bit absent. When I first started out employing people, it wasn't always easy. I didn't always do it well. And every now and then I had periods where I was, as a leader, a little bit absent. And I felt the result of that. And it was just horrible to be around. So, the absence of that investment is a pretty crummy environment. So I wouldn't want to be in that myself. So, it's self-serving, makes it a lot more fun for me to be in. And everybody, if you come in and people are smiling, that's a nice thing,
All right. There's an elephant in the room, John.
Yes.
Canberra Spine Centre. Now, for those people that don't live in Canberra, the perception that Canberra is a bit on the boring side. You've got the Pollies, you've got Parliament House. Are we right, or is that a terrible disparity of the Canberra lifestyle? You have to shed some wisdom about Canberra.
Well, it's a funny one, isn't it? Because I'm from Canberra. So when I left Melbourne many years ago. I've lived in some big cities too, Paul, so I know what it's like to live in big, exciting cities. Canberra's, not a Melbourne or Sydney, but when I came here, I thought, the last place on earth I want to go. I came here to be with my wife, and I thought, I'll put up with Canberra. But within a few weeks, I found that it was great, and it's actually got all the stuff that a big city's got, and there's plenty to do. So I've actually never found it to be a boring place at all. If you really need a taste of the big smoke, you can drive to Sydney in a few hours. I guess the great thing about Canberra is everything's easy.
Yeah.
We have a whinge in that if anything takes you more than 10 minutes to drive to, it's like, oh my God, that's so far away. So especially good for families, with kids and stuff. That's just, life's easy. Great for outdoor lifestyle. If you're into mountain biking or hiking or skiing or anything like that, the coast isn't too far away. So yeah, it offers a lot. I'm not going to pretend it's Melbourne or Sydney, but I actually think lifestyle wise, I'm never going to move back to Melbourne because I love the lifestyle here. It's really good.
I interviewed someone, another regional preferred employer, who talked about how he loved the regional work because he sometimes he did 3 sports in an afternoon, like after work, because he was able to get to the different events and he didn't have to spend an hour getting to them and from them. So he was able to just do the commute. It kills you.
Yep. No, it's nice. I actually, in fact, half of my staff, myself, I ride to work most of the time. One of my staff members walks to work. I have another, he's bought a scooter. So most of us are within, maximum 10 minutes drive, and some of us walk, ride, or scoot. Yeah, makes sense.
It's all about the communities, mate. If there's chiropractors out there looking for a great place to work and the culture and the preferred employee you've got going at the moment, or the preferred system, how can they contact you? Where do they go if they're looking at getting a real opportunity in chiropractic in Canberra?
I'll just say going straight to our website is probably the easiest. We've got a careers page there, so spinecentre.com.au and /careers. You'll see the careers page there. So that's got all sorts of things. It's got some information that you can read, booklets and questions to ask. Great information. I put a lot of effort into that. It's got some interviews, videos that we've got with our team members so that people can get a sense of why they're working there and what they get out of it. And of course, contact details so you can get in touch.
What's the URL again, John? Where do they go?
spinecentre.com.au.
Beautiful. But I love what you guys are doing. I love the passion you bring to your businesses, and you can see why you're in the preferred employer program just because of the passion you have for your team members. Mate, thanks for joining us. I love talking to you.
Thanks very much, Paul.